Hey, what's up everybody? Hammer Heart Metal Reviews here once again. Today we're doing volume 2 in my series where I'm going to be going through 5 underrated CD albums from my collection. So I did the first volume last month. I'll probably do one of these like every month or so. If you missed the last edition, go check it out. Just kind of the focus of this series is just to kind of talk about some underrated or underappreciated albums that I own that I feel like I don't necessarily talk about that often in other videos. So these are only CDs that I actually have physical copies of, and just some albums by either bands that I think are really underrated, or maybe the band's not underrated, but maybe the specific album is underrated. This is just to have a little bit of fun. So yeah, definitely let me know your thoughts on any of these albums. If you haven't heard them, definitely go check them out. Like I said, I'll probably do one of these every month or so, just go through 5 albums at a time. I don't want to go through my whole CD collection. I know there's been a few requests for me to do that. That's not really something I feel like doing, and I'm only going to make videos that I want to do. So that being said, I do understand the desire to see some of the albums that I have, and I feel like just focusing on the underrated ones is better. I mean, I can show popular CDs or common CDs, but what's the point of that? Like, I just want to talk about some ones that maybe I don't talk about too often. So anyways, without further ado, let's get into this. Let's kick this off. So the first one I'm going to talk about today is Primordial with their album To the Nameless Dead. So if you have not heard this band before, they have a very unique sound. Even from album to album, it shifts. They are from Ireland and really bring in a lot of like Celtic and folk touches, but it's not like overdone. I wouldn't even call this folk metal. They started out more in the black metal vein, but then really put out like almost a pure doom album. And then over the course of their career, they've kind of combined all these different influences together. It's like hints of black metal, hints of doom, touches of Celtic and pagan mythology, and it really just created something that's truly their own. I feel like this band is very underrated, not just this album, but this band as a whole. This is not my #1 favorite album by them, To the Nameless Dead, but it is a very solid one, and if you've never heard the band before, I feel like this one would be a good album for an introduction to the band, because it kind of gives you a taste of what they've done throughout different stages of their career. This one really kind of culminates in everything. Like, there's still hints of black metal, there's hints of doom, but really it's just a very like dramatic album. The vocals might be an acquired taste. I think he's awesome. It does some really interesting clean vocals. It's very emotional stuff, but he does some black metal rasps as well. Just all in all, front to back, a pretty solid album. Like I said, To the Nameless Dead, definitely an album you should go check out. All right, switching gears completely. Let's go with some death metal this time around with dimmac and their album Knives of Ice. So this one, oh wow, the guitar playing on here might just blow your mind. Really technical guitar playing. This band was formed out of the ashes of Ripping Corpse, which is another super underrated band. Ripping Corpse is probably most famous for featuring Eric Rutan on lead guitar. He is not in dimmac. He obviously went on to form Hate Eternal. But the vocalist from Ripping Corpse and the other guitarist, Sean Kelly, did go on to form dimmac, and also on this album features John Longstreth on drums, who's a super accomplished drummer, been in tons of bands like Angel Corpse, Origin, just to name a couple. And so he brings in this whole other technicality to the drumming side of things, and these riffs, wow, absolutely amazing stuff. Like, the songs on here are super impressive. I feel like this band doesn't get enough love. Maybe not everything they've done in their course of their career is amazing, but this album is a definite standout. The vocals, I mean, if you've heard Ripping Corpse, you know what the vocals are going to be like. It's not necessarily the best death metal vocalist out there, but it suits the music. I don't mind them. And yeah, really awesome album here. Favorite tracks, if I had to pick some: Incident at Temple of Lang, sorry. But yeah, that one's really stand out. Great Worm of Hell. Really just go listen to this whole album. Riffs for days. Awesome, awesome stuff. All right, let's switch gears once again. Go with some power metal this time with Heavenly and their album Dust to Dust. So wow, yeah, I feel like Heavenly is a super underrated power metal band in general, probably because of the name. Let's be honest, Heavenly is not a great band name. First time I just read the name, like, I probably don't need to listen to that. That's not going to be good. It's going to be cheesy and terrible. But no, that is opposite. disregard the band name. Musically, this is amazing stuff. Great guitar work. There's some great piano parts, and the vocalist really shines. I think he composes a lot of the songs here too. This is a concept album all about like becoming a vampire, which is a different take on the power metal genre. And there's just so many standout moments here. Really epic stuff. Favorite tracks on here: Keepers of the Earth is amazing. Kingdom Come, Fight for Deliverance, and even the nice ballad to close it off, Dust to Dust. Like, all in all, this is an amazing goddamn power metal album. Definitely go give it a listen if you have not. Super underrated band, and this is probably my favorite album by them. All right, up next, gonna go with a band that I feel like has always been criminally underrated. I talk about them a lot on this channel, but I'm gonna talk about them again today. That's Ereb Altor. So the album I'm talking about today is The End. This was their second album. So over the course of their career, they really did change their sound quite a bit. Their first album, By Honor, which is my favorite album by them, was pure, like, Hammerheart era Bathory worship. But By Honor is an absolute masterpiece. I almost chose that CD to show here today because that one's underrated too. But it's an all-time classic, and I feel like this one, The End, gets a little overlooked because it was the follow-up to an absolute masterpiece of an album. But this one's not far behind, and this one still deserves some love as well. This is more like, if you listen to later day Ereb Altor, which I still absolutely love, they started incorporating in more black metal influences, and their sound has progressed a little bit. But back here, this was still when they were in very much like epic doom territory, super epic stuff, still a big time Corthon and Bathory influence, and just glorious clean vocals, and these songs are epic as hell. Our Failure is probably my favorite track on here, but then the closing three songs is like The End, Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. They all kind of blend together to make this really lengthy, like, fucking masterpiece, epic. Like, it is split up in 3 songs on the CD, but it's a great way to close it off. Just really awesome stuff. Definitely go check out Ereb Altor, The End. Go listen to their debut, By Honor, as well. But yeah, this one I feel like is more underrated. So that's why I chose this one to talk about in this video. Okay, one more for today, which arguably this one that I chose, not really an underrated band and not even necessarily an underrated album, but I feel like in the context of their career, it maybe gets overlooked. I'm talking about Wolves in the Throne Room and their album Black Cascade. So this is a third album by these guys. Of course, not an underrated band, probably one of the more well-known US black metal bands these days. But whenever you hear anyone talk about like their masterpieces, it's generally the first couple albums, Diadem of 12 Stars and 200s. And don't get me wrong, those are my 2 favorite Wolves in the Throne Room album too, but I feel like Black Cascade gets overlooked a little bit. And this album is like very close to being as good as those first 2 in my opinion. This one absolutely kills. The vocals are vicious. It's got really long drawn out compositions, and it's all about the atmosphere here. There's only 4 tracks, but it's over 40 minutes long, so you know you're getting these sprawling, epic black metal songs. But man, Wanderer, Above the Sea of Fog, Crystal Ammunition, like, fuck, this album kicks ass. So arguably, does it deserve to be on an underrated albums list? Maybe not. It's hard to choose these sometimes, but I felt like grabbing this one and talking about it today. So if you have not listened to this and you're into black metal, definitely go give it a listen because it's a solid fucking album. So anyways, that's 5 albums for today. Look forward to next month. I'll pick another 5 albums from my collection to talk about that I feel like needs some more love. Let me know your thoughts down below. And until next time, Hammerheart Metal Reviews, out.